Time is 8:37 today, a little earlier, 13th of September 2011. My name is Abbas Tamori. I'm going to give you an introduction to the second chapter of the relationship, which is the relationship of people to their children and to their parents. The first relationship, as I said, it was between husband and wife, a couple, and I explained a variety of it. Now, explanations of the relationship between us and our parents and our children. I've said before several times, I believe, that the humanity and the full potential of what a human being is, it's only would be found out in relationship with other people. If, like old Indian religion, that we want to go to cave, like some of the monks, asceticism they call it, if you think that you could be alone in your loneliness with the nature or whatever, that you can get anywhere, you're not. Buddha discovered this a long time ago, that there has to be a balance between, what we do. So you can't show kindness, which are the main, attributes, spiritual attributes, or generosity, or bravery, or whatever, unless you're dealing with another human being. Then it will be, those attributes and qualities will be demonstrated. To begin with that, I also said that God, the Creator, which is not particularly very hard to imagine who that is. Might as well just think of a human being who's lived few billions and billions of years. In course of evolution, we can never imagine what the intelligence do to us in the course of time. If there's no time and there's intelligence and there's willpower, every human being can essentially become reach to a stage that no one can imagine what power that he would have. It goes beyond the imaginations. So such God, such Creator, through the instinctive desires, He makes us to understand. For example, through the male and female organs and the hormones, we get attracted to each other. It's an animal attractions. But human on the side of animal within us can learn that this sex can turn into love. Wanting somebody, desiring something, some person, that can turn into love. It's like a boosting system. God is boosting you, starting you out. The same instinctive desires extends to the love towards the children. When you love a woman and you want to be with her, or she wants to be with a man, then the children and offsprings will be just as loved, and again is instinct. As if God does not trust human being without the feeling of instinctive desires, He may let go of the children. He has made it an instinctive desire that we have an attraction towards the little children, offspring of our own. The same, of course, goes, not to that extent, but also towards our mother and father. See, these are the three basic instinctive desires, from which the mechanism, from the material desires, instinctive desires, the mechanism starts to take us, boost us towards understanding. This is not just our children. Any children could be our children. The feeling should get kicked in when you see a child, if you're adult. And when you're young, when you see an old person, an old man or woman, the feeling of a child as a son has to kick in, and you feel, they're your mom and dad. All right. So if we understand these instinctive desires, love towards parents and children and the wife, would take us to a higher stage in which we'll do these things by our own. I believe it's a part of my conviction that just one single human being cannot claim humanity, because we are, like many organisms that we're a single individual cell, but together, when we are together, we're creating a different being. We call that humanity. You can see sometimes in the very basic life, such as fungi, for example. I remember when I was in India studying a plant called a volvox. And this plant, individual cells, they get together and they create another organism. That's different ones. Or the same goes with some of the symbiotic life, or lichens, which is a plant of its own, the one that grows on the stones and when it dies creates acids and breaks the rocks. Actually, lichen is made out of if I'm right, out of a fungus called mycorrhiza and a bacteria. They get together and they create this plant. The same way we, single human being, when we get together, we create a different being. Okay, that's called humanity. So we cannot claim humanity single unless we have a relationship with others. The more the relationship it is that we have, the bigger we have gone in the chain of command. If you're the cells in my hand, probably would not have understood there's cells on the other hand. But if you're the cells in the brain, then you know the whole body. It's just an example, okay? I'm trying to make sense of our understanding as a person. If we understand humanity, we become the cells of brain, basically, or then connected to whole humanity. I've said that at least a chain of 3 is required, that we, whoever we are, we have to have a link to the future and a link to past. It could be our own biological mother and father and our daughter and sons, or we have developed these feelings, and although we're not married or single, we still feel the older people, that we see them, the feeling that this is our father or our mother kicks in. The same way when we see younger people, like feeling they're like your children. As many Canadians, by the way, do. They're very easy for Canadians to adopt children and love them. It's very difficult in an Arabic country, like even in Iran, that they do not want to raise others, people's children. To them, this is not right. Whatever, but it's very much, developed in the West. One of those sign of a certain spirituality, of a way is coming along, evolving in the West. This is one of the signs. So I'm going to my notes. I've written here one of the points that when we have children, really, then only we understand what our mother and father have done. It is very hard without it to understand what goes through the head of your father and mother when you're inside your mother for such a long time. 9 months she can't sleep properly, she can't eat. Her biology changes. And your dad that lives with the woman, with your mother, and the worries that he has when you're born and has to go, and the feeling that comes in him to go and find, food for you and happiness. I remember when I had my son born in Thunder Bay, I was going on a ladder just like a monkey. And I remember Frank said that, yeah. When then my son born, the very next day I was hesitating to go on the ladder. He said to me, Abbas, that happened to me when I had my child too. You're afraid now, yeah? I said, no, why? He said, because you have a son now, you feel responsible. I said, is that it? He said, yeah. Later on I found that he's right. Experience. The man is not educated, but he had the experience of being a father, then he knew. So it's an amazing thing, when you are becoming a father or a mother. So these are the three instinctive desires: connection to an opposite sex. As a result of it, you become father and mother, and the relation that you have with your own mother and father. This three is the boosting system of God to kick us into the realm of spirituality. So from this we understand the taste of love and the taste of compassion and taking care of, so we can apply it to everyone. We don't understand this very well, is the chain of command is broken. Or like Nintendo games my son used to play. Like you're failing. Even if you're losing the game at level 10, you have to go back again from the beginning and start over. Like the boxers, if they lose, they have to go on the bottom of the list. If we do not have connection to our mom and dad, and we don't appreciate them properly, going back, to the children, we don't care very much either, then the children will just lose it completely out of such families. They have no connection, really. It's just like going back to the cave, like monkey, we have to grow back now. Doesn't matter if we have if we are married or not married, but we have to develop these feelings. Others have done it, by the connection to the other fathers, to the other mothers. We have to try to understand what the feeling is. Sometimes, hug a child, get a child, to feel it, even if you don't want to have children or you're not married even. But this has to come into us. It doesn't matter what the instinctive desires is in there or not. We are human, we know others do, so from there we can take it and go on and find our own discovery and try to understand, although we're not married, to become a father and mother. Adoptions of the children is the greatest, one single greatest spiritual business. If one does that, especially a child, there's a lot of orphans in the world. It's very difficult to get them usually by there's so many red tapes that's around. But if you adopt those children, they call you mom and dad, and you grow them up, you have done a greatest spiritual, understanding. You get to it. I never had this chance to adopt children, but I've seen some who did. I remember it was 1984 when we came in Sarnia. I had the privilege to know a family called Kathy and Larry McKigney. Larry wasn't a Baha'i, but Kathy was. But they were to me they were the same. They were just beautiful people. It doesn't matter. And they had their own children. These are English Anglo-Saxon people. I know, McKigney, probably Scottish. But then they adopted 6 other children, I believe. They were blacks. Just like their own children. These black children, they loved their mom and dad like crazy. They really loved them so much. And so was Kathy and Larry. There was no difference. They were raised so properly that I know one of them, his real name was Saeed, but he became Tony McKigney. He was playing for St. Louis Blues in hockey. Like he went up. I don't know about others, but the woman, Kathy, that I sat down and was talking to her about the 7 valleys, I remember, she said, at age 65, I feel like a child. She was. She looked like a teenager, she says. This sense, of freedom from attachment, from worries, which is the real freedom. If worries are not attached to you, if fear is not attached to you, if anger is not attached to you, you have the real freedom. That's the spiritual freedom. And she had that. I saw that. Right in Sarnia, Ontario. So the adoption of the children does not have to just end to the children. I believe we can adopt our own mother and father. We should. So the children are grown up, let's say. Now they're 18, 19, 20, 25, they're gone. And you and your spouse, maybe at age 50, 45, you're home. Try to go to these old age homes. Find these beautiful old people there. Try to become friend with them. Get rid of this custom that one should not interfere, or if we go they say that we are after their money, or if we help them there's some suspicious. So get rid of these things, okay? There's a red tape installed in your head. Never mind what people think, but just go and talk to these old people. Sit down for hours, listen to them. Gradually, when they know who you are, take them out for a coffee, for a drink. Be their son, be their daughter. If they're not visited, especially those who are not visited by other people. It's a great feeling. You want to get rid of fear, you want to get rid of sadness and happiness, of getting lost in civilization, feeling you're cheated all your life. You went after money and now you have a house paid off and this and that, for the ownership of which they charge you 3 times over. You paid 4 times over the price of what you call your own, and now you feel you're old, that you're useless. If those things are attacking you, you're feeling depressed, get out. Find these old people. Go be brave then, more brave than that. Go to the jails, go to dropping centers, find people, old people, nice people. Get them out, take them for a hamburger. These kind of things is so important. So you could gradually find an old person that has nobody, and you become their children. You know, even if you have to take them on the car or whatever, push their wheelchair. Oh man, these are the huge sign of a civilized spiritual being. These are the things that we should do if we are going to be claiming the station of humanity. Otherwise, it's a bunch of words. The West has made it to us that it's one competition only for making money or becoming famous. There's no competition for becoming happier. There's no competition to get rid of the spiritual sickness of worries and anger and fear. There's no competition there. There is no Mr. Spiritual, you know. It's all Mr. Big Body, Mr. Singer, Mr. Richman. There's no Mr. Servitude, the man who serves humanity and enjoys it. For God's sake, we have thousands of role models in every religion for that matter. You know, from Mother Teresa to Nelson Mandela in Canada, you know, Cherry Fox, Rick Hansen. I don't know how many are out there, thousands in the US probably. They've done this. Just we have to reach and create relationship. Let us feel a responsible human being and take care of some old people. If they're in your neighborhood, go cut their grass. Do something. That's just going to make you to feel better. You don't need doctors and psychologists. You just need to boost your immune system spiritually. As soon as the feeling of the helping of somebody comes in there, you may not feel good first few days. But like everything else, once you do it, it's just like changing the oil in transmission. The new information gets into your brain and kicks. Get rid of the old ones. Because worries and anger and fear is just unreal feeling. How can I be worried when I don't know next 10 minutes what will happen in this house? The whole thing can collapse right on my head. Unknown diseases are working in my body, can kill me every 10 minutes. If I want to think about it, there's billions of reasons to be worried about. Worried about things they don't know I'm not much worried about the things that I know. But I know there are a lot of unknown. I'm stepping into the unknown. I can't see the future, so I'm blindly going on a road that I don't know what it is. So feeling afraid of the reasons that people are telling me, or worried about it, their mortgage is going down, or this and that, it's just as stupid. Pure stupid. If the relationship is dull between husband and wife, it's because there's lack of a spiritual understanding. You take a subject and try to talk to your wife, you wouldn't get anywhere. Instead, do some expansion of characters. That's the formula I told you what to do. Attention deficit disorder. Not attention, I'm sorry. Achievement deficit disorder. That's my term. Achievement deficit disorder. You haven't achieved much, so you're down. Instead of talking about the topic and subject, get your wife, let's just go out and try to meet some people, the people you don't know, and try to talk to them. They don't seem to be joyful in the beginning, but you go on and do it, then you get used to it. Then you know, oh, okay, this is why Nelson Mandela went to jail. Because it's such a delicious feeling, you just don't know it. But haven't tried it. Whoever you are, doesn't matter. Start to do the right things, the better things. There's no way that any ideology in the earth exists, from the pure Marxist-Leninist to, atheist, to whatever you are, that you don't believe in helping people. Any ideology accepts that and believe in that. Okay, so we gotta do this. Being nice to others. Then your character becomes bigger, expands, new area that you never touched. Now go talk to your wife after that. You see the topic that you were having before, trouble to convey the message to her. It's so easy now. It gets solved. We're just like computer that do not have enough RAM power. We'll have to expand to the area of the desires that we have. One of them is serving and feeling like a child, feeling responsible to help other people. As children, as brothers and sisters, as mother and father, as cousins, as uncles. Feel the family sense. It's hard for you to go to everyone, just go to the one that you feel to. Then you get used to it and do the others. Very well, this is just an introduction I've given about this second chapter of the relationship. I will be going to talking about raising the children probably tonight. After these topics, I will be continuing this discussion. See you guys.